Welcome students to our video on proportions in algebra. So using proportions in algebra, I know that proportions and percents are two things that you thought you were free from at the end of pre-algebra, but no, you are indeed not free. We are going to continue to see them. We do need to continue to work with them. So let's do some quick review and jump in and try some problems. A proportion says that two ratios are equal, and ratios, remember, basically fractions. And here you have an example of two equal ratios forming a proportion. 1 out of 3 is equal to 2 out of 6. The ratios are the same, so they are in proportion with each other. One cool thing about them is that the cross products of those two ratios are equal. When we say cross products, we mean multiplying diagonally. 6 times 1, 6, and that equals 3 times 2, which is 6, so the cross products are equal, and that's something we use in order to solve proportions. So let's continue. We say that things are proportional when their relative sizes are the same. So with these two dogs, you have this white dog here and then this brown dog here, which it appears to me are basically the same dog in black and white and in color, but whatever, that's fine. And if we look at the measurements, the length of the head and the length of the body, length of the head, length of the body. If it's the same breed, you would have the same ratio. Those ratios are proportional. Again, if I cross multiply, both cross products will give me 300. And they do point out here that making the head too long or too short would look bad. I'm sure you guys could draw me some interesting pictures to show that. But if the dog was way too long compared to a tiny little head size, it definitely would look like a strange looking dog. Let's try solving some proportions. So if you remember how to do this, you want to do it without me, copy them down, pause it, solve your proportions. But I'm going to jump right in and get started with them now. So let's start with this first one. So 3 over v equals 8 over 13. So that's problem number 1 there. Number 1. 3 over v equals 8 over 13. We're going to cross multiply. 8 times v is 8v, and we're going to put that on the left. 3 times 13 is 39. And we solve by dividing by 8. Now proportions are great when you can see the solution as a whole number right from the beginning, and that's fine with me, but do not assume that everything's going to be an integer or a whole number. In this case, we end up with 39/8, which I just checked on a calculator to make sure. I want to avoid all kinds of mistakes today. So I checked it, and that is indeed correct. Let's move on to number 2. Negative 9 over b equals 5 over 6. Be careful that your b and your 6 look like two different things. Cross multiply. 5 times b, 5b, is equal to negative 9 times 6, which is negative 54. Divide by 5, divide by 5. And again, we have another one that comes out not a whole number. You can leave it an improper fraction. If you must, negative 10 and 4/5 is fine, but I do want to see those improper fractions preferably. Number 3. Number 3 is one where I can go ahead and use... Oh, I didn't keep it consistent. I know some of you hate it when I do that. Let's fix it. Let's see. Okay. Consistency is a good thing. Okay, number 3 is one where you can see a pattern. 3 times 5 gives me 15. 2 times 5 is going to give me A. And I am perfectly fine with you seeing that and using that. Just make sure that you are not convincing yourself there's a pattern there that doesn't actually exist. Last one on the page. 8 over p equals 3 over 10. Cross multiply. 3p equals 80. And remember, even though you really want to pick up a calculator and do this, it's less work not to. And 80/3 is the correct answer, which I will confirm right now by checking it on my calculator. All right. And 3/10. Yep, that's right. All right, so that's basic proportions. Let's look at ones that are a little bit more complicated. So here we have 2 more proportions. They're a little bit more complicated than the previous ones. Now you have an expression in part of the fraction there. So let's jump in and let's go ahead and work on solving these. So we have 7 over k minus 2 equals 5 over 8. So your cross products are still going to be the same, except here it's 5 times all of k minus 2, so I have to remember to distribute. And then on this side it'll be 7 times 8. So that'll be 5k minus 10 equals 56. Yeah, that's right. Add 10 to both sides. Sorry, it took me a second. Couldn't remember my 7 times 8 math fact there for a second. And then we're going to finish off by dividing. And we got 66/5, which I went ahead and checked on my calculator here, and it is correct. Same thing on the other one. Why don't you copy it, pause it, try it, and then come back to me. So I'm going to go ahead and do it now. So we got, again, cross product. So 3 times all of b minus 4, 3 times the quantity b minus 4, and 2 times the quantity 3b plus 4. 2 times the quantity 3b plus 4. So we have 3b minus 12 equals 6b plus 8. So make sure, check your distributing. I'm going to pause it and check mine. Yep, looking good. All right, get rid of my smaller value of my variable. So I'm going to subtract 3b from each side, leaving me negative 12 equals 3b plus 8. I'm going to subtract 8. And we get another one that doesn't come out to an integer. Got a lot of those on this assignment, or on this video. Negative 20/3. Let me pause it and check it. Checked and confirmed. Negative 20/3. All right, let's continue. Let's look at some application problems. All right, 7, 8, and 9 are application problems. I'm not going to force you. Well, obviously I can't force you. It's not like I can stand over you and make you copy them down. I'm not going to force you to copy them down. It's up to you what you want to do with them. Let's start with number 7. Gardening. A gardener is transplanting flowers into a flower bed. She's been working for an hour and has transplanted 14 flowers. She has 35 more flowers to transplant. If she works at the same rate, how many hours will it take her? So with proportions like this, with word problems like this, you want to keep it organized. Okay? So in this problem, I'm going to put flowers on the top. So it's going to be flowers over time equals flowers over time. Please excuse my messy handwriting. I don't have my good stylus here. I think I left it at home. So I'm unprepared today making my video. But in that case, if we just set it up that way, it should be really easy to figure out how to set it up. 14 flowers over 1 hour equals 35 flowers over, I don't know how many hours, make that x. Cross product, 14x equals 35. And then when you divide both sides by 14, you're going to get x equals, it should be 2.5. Yeah. 2.5. And because I was finding a time, that's 2.5 hours. Good. Let's do the next one. If you want to pause it, do it on your own, and then start it again, you know the drill. Florist. So florist is making centerpieces. He uses 2 dozen roses for every 5 centerpieces. How many dozens of roses will he need to make 20 centerpieces? Again, keep it organized. So we're going to have flowers, or centerpieces, or excuse me, flowers or roses over centerpieces. Gosh, how am I going to draw that? That's hideous. That's absolutely hideous, but pretend that's a centerpiece. So keep it consistent is what I'm trying to tell you here. All right, since we're counting in the dozens, we're going to use the 2 dozen. So 2 dozen roses. I'm not going to write dozen. I'm just going to keep it 2. Just remember your answer is in the dozens, number of dozens, over 5 centerpieces equals, I don't know how many dozens of roses over 20 centerpieces. Oh, good, look, this is one of those ones we can figure out just by looking for the pattern. 5 times 4 is 20, 2 times 4, 8 dozen roses. Notice, and this is something we've been talking about in class, hopefully we got to talk about it in the last class, when you answer a word problem, answer the word problem by actually telling me the answer to the question that was asked. All right, last one of these. Again, you know the drill if you want to pause it and try it on your own. Number 9, picnics. If 5 pounds of pasta, If 5 pounds of pasta serves, pasta salad, oh, even better, I love pasta salad. If 5 pounds of pasta salad serves 14 people, how much pasta salad did you bring to a picnic with 49 people? So I'm going to refrain from the pictures this time. We're going to do pasta over people equals pasta over people. So 5 pounds over 14 people equals, I don't know how many pounds of pasta salad over 49 people. I can definitely see a relationship because 14 is divisible by 7 and 49 is also divisible by 7. So if you want to use what we did in number 8, a similar method in number 9, you can. But I'm going to be lazy and just use my cross product because I think that's easier. 49 times 5. Well, 50 times 5 would be 250. So 49 times 5 would be 245. Let's double check that. Yep, got it. All right, divide by 14. Divide by 14. X equals. That would be a good chance for short division. That's going to go in 1 time with 10 left over. Okay, so 1 time with 10 left over. 14 goes into 105. Let's see. That's 7 times. 7 times with 7 left over. So 17 and 7/14 or 17 and 1/2 pounds of pasta salad. I think I might have to make pasta salad for dinner tonight after making this video because I am super hungry. Okay, one last slide with two slightly more complicated application problems. Let's take a look. Okay, so hold on. We'll make these 10 and 11. We'll make these 10 and 11. And I think I'm going to write in purple. So make this number 10, make this number 11. Okay. For number 10, the lengths of the sides of a triangle are in the ratio of 3 to 4 to 5. The perimeter of the triangle is 24 inches. Find the length of each side. These sound complicated. And it also sounds like a proportion problem, which I can write it as a proportion problem if I choose. And what I can do here is I can go ahead and actually add these all three numbers together. And that gives me 12. So that means that one side of the triangle is kind of the 3, one's the 4, and one's the 5. And if the perimeter was 12, then the sides would be 3, 4, and 5. So if the triangle perimeter was 12, the side lengths would be 3, 4, and 5. The triangle is 24. So there's a couple of different ways to do this. We can look at the fact that if you double 12, you multiply by 2, you get 24. And we can double the sides of the triangle. So instead of 3, 4, 5, if we double them, we get 6, 8, 10, which does indeed add up to 24, and those are the three sides of the triangle, 6 inches, 8 inches, and 10 inches. And the other way you can do this is to actually not use a proportion, but to use that ratio there, and you just tack an x onto each one. 3x plus 4x plus 5x, fix that there, is equal to 24. And you could solve it that way. We get 12x equals 24. And that multiplier there is 2, which is the same thing that we just found by using our alternate method. So the ratio problems are actually not that hard, and it's not really even a proportion. Threw it in there because you can solve it with a proportion. We could actually have done it a couple different ways, but I wanted to point out how we solve those. That's a good type of word problem to bring up. This other one we are going to do in terms of a proportion. The ratio of boys to girls enrolled in chemistry classes is 5 to 4. Well, that's depressing. It should be 5 to 5 or 4 to 4. It shouldn't be 5 to 4. And 5 to 5 and 4 to 4, of course, would be 1 to 1, but I digress. If the total number of students taking chemistry is 981, how many are boys and how many are girls enrolled in chemistry? Okay, we're going to choose a variable here, and I'm going to teach you how to do this. We're going to call x the number of boys enrolled in chemistry. So x is going to be number of boys. How would I express the number of girls and don't say why? Well, the only thing we know right now is the total. So to find the number of the other gender in the class, we're going to subtract. So 981 minus x. And we can write a proportion for this by saying that the ratio of boys to girls is 5 to 4. And on the other side of the proportion, the number of boys actually in class is x, and the number of girls in class is 981 minus x. And that's the proportion we're going to solve to find the answer. So cross multiply. 5 times 981 minus x, 5 times the quantity, 981 minus x, equals 4x. We're going to distribute, and that gives me, yes, I totally cheated and used a calculator, though it's not really cheating because, I kind of make the rules for this stuff sometimes as I go along. All right, so we have 4,905 minus 5x equals 4x. We're going to add 5x to each side. We're going to have 4,905 equals 9x. It should be coming out to a whole number, so let's assume that it's going to. Let's use our short division. 9 goes into 49 5 times with 4 left over. 9 goes into 40 4 times with 4 left over. And 9 goes into 45 5 times. So the number of boys in the class, 545 boys in the class. And the number of girls in the class is whatever 981 minus 545 is. 981 minus 545, 436. girls. Okay? So one quick way for me to double check my answer with that is to actually find that ratio. So I'm going to take my graphing calculator in my hand. I know you can't see it. Just trust me that that's what I'm doing. And I'm going to use my division and then my math enter. And on my screen, I divided 545 divided by 436. I did indeed, I did indeed get 5 to 4, 5/4. So I know that that's correct. I'm also going to double check by adding them together and make sure that the total is 981, so that's right. So I know I have it. And that's proportions in algebra, folks. We're going to be looking at some simple proportions in class, and also we'll be looking at solving some more complicated word problems with this stuff. So I'll see you in class.